I was in the hospital after a car crash. Couldn't walk. My brother took control of my finances to help. When I got out, my house was sold, my accounts were empty, and he'd moved to Mexico. When I called, he said, "You were practically dead. I just made it official." I thought I'd lost everything. Until I opened a storage unit he forgot to close. I OT into a serious car crash last year just outside Tucson. I was driving home from work at around 2 a.m. when some drunk idiot blew through a red light and T-boned my truck at full speed. I don't remember the impact. All I know is I woke up in a hospital bed, strapped up like a damn science experiment with tubes in my mouth and pain shooting through every inch of my body. Turns out I'd been out for a while. Broke both legs, 3 ribs, my collarbone, had internal bleeding, and the doctors said my brain had some trauma too. I couldn't move. Couldn't talk right. Nurses were in and out constantly. I couldn't even scratch my own damn nose. I don't have a wife or kids. Never really settled down. My closest living relative is my little brother, Craig, 39M. He was the first person to visit me after the crash. At first, I was relieved to see him. He brought me a cheap balloon, stood at my bedside, said he'd take care of everything. That was the beginning of it all. Craig had always been the type to hustle. Not in a good way. He bounced from job to job, owed money to pretty much everyone, and once borrowed my credit card to buy himself a PlayStation. Still, I figured he'd at least respect the fact that I was in the damn ICU. Wrong. While I was laid up and full of drugs, Craig told the doctors and social worker that he was my legal next of kin. Said I was mentally incompetent. Said the doctors told him I might never fully recover. He started filing for power of attorney over me. Used some free online forms and a shady notary he knew from a bar. He sold my F******ing house. Just like that. He told people I was in a vegetative state. Said I'd want him to have everything. I lived in that place for 15 years. Had it paid off. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. Gone. Furniture? Gone. Tools? Sold. My truck? Sold for parts. All my accounts, checking, savings, retirement, all drained. He had access to everything. And I was still in a hospital bed, half-conscious, thinking my brother had my back. I was in rehab for months. Couldn't walk for most of it. I had to learn how to get dressed, bathe, even stand up again. But I made it. I pushed through every bit of pain because I kept telling myself I just want to go home. When they finally discharged me, the hospital set me up with a ride back to my place. I'll never forget pulling up to my old address in Marana and seeing nothing. The house was gone. Not like somebody else lives here. Gone as in bulldozed. The whole lot was cleared. There was a broken real estate sign lying in the dirt, half covered in weeds. I thought it was a mistake. Maybe the driver brought me to the wrong place. I called Craig. He actually answered. "Look who finally came back from the dead," he said, laughing. I asked him what the hell happened. His answer? "You were practically dead. I just made it official." I went quiet. I couldn't speak. I just sat there, staring at the empty lot where my life used to be, holding the phone in my shaking hand. He hung up. That first night, I slept in a motel. Cheap one, off the highway. My debit card didn't work, so I had to use the little bit of rehab money the hospital gave me when I left. I had no ID, no car, no phone plan. I was basically a ghost. I spent the next week going place to place, trying to find someone, anyone who could help. My old coworkers thought I was dead. My bank said the account was closed months ago. When I showed up at the branch, they called security. Even my doctor had been told I wouldn't recover. No one expected to see me again. Craig made sure of that. I don't know why I thought of the storage unit. Maybe because I had nowhere else to go. 6 years ago, I rented a small unit in Mesa about an hour away, mostly for junk I didn't want to throw out. I'd prepaid a year in advance. Figured it was probably gone, but I called the company anyway. They said it was still active. Payment went through 3 months ago. Craig must have forgotten about it. I hitched a ride out there the next morning. The second I opened it, something shifted. It wasn't much, a beat-up dresser, some old tools, plastic bins, but then I saw the filing cabinets in the back. And the fireproof box. Inside? Gold. Original account documents. Birth certificate. Insurance papers. Backup hard drive. USB. Notarized titles. Even copies of the house deed. More importantly, it had proof. All of it. Forged documents. Fake signatures. Wire transfers. Craig didn't just rob me, he committed full-on identity theft. I sat on the floor of that storage unit for 3 hours, just going through everything, shaking, crying sometimes, laughing in disbelief. I found receipts from pawn shops where he sold my stuff, printouts of emails with real estate agents pretending to be me, and a notebook, Craig's handwriting, phone numbers, logins, passwords. I had the key to take my life back, and I was going to use it. I didn't sleep that night. I stayed up at the motel, sitting at the tiny desk with everything I pulled from that storage unit. I made copies of every paper, scanned everything onto a drive, took photos of the forged signatures, the fake power of attorney, and the bank transactions with his name all over them. The more I read, the more I shook. I wasn't just angry, I was humiliated. My own brother thought I'd never walk again, never think straight again, and used that to steal my whole life. But I had something now. Proof. Melissa was the only person I trusted with this. We went to high school together, and I helped her out when her dad passed years ago. She was a lawyer now, running a small practice in Phoenix. I hadn't spoken to her in a while, but when I called and told her everything, she told me to come in right now. I showed up the next morning, walking slow with my cane, and dumped the folder on her desk. She read through the first page and went still. "Your brother's screwed," she said. "This is felony-level fraud. Minimum." She didn't just see what happened, she saw how to go after him. First, she filed a police report, then one with the FBI. Then she called contacts she knew in the Financial Crimes Division. She sent certified letters to the bank that let Craig drain my accounts. And she filed a motion in civil court to freeze any remaining assets in my name. That's when we hit a problem. Craig wasn't in Arizona anymore. He'd taken the money, hundreds of thousands of dollars between the house, my accounts, and insurance payout, and moved to Baja California, just outside La Paz. Bought a house with cash, living with some woman he met online, posting pictures of his new life on Instagram like nothing happened. He was untouchable for now. Extraditing someone from Mexico isn't easy, even if they're a U.S. citizen. You need evidence, you need pressure, and you need money. So we changed tactics. Using the passwords I found in his notebook, Melissa helped me report Craig's wire transfers and activity as unauthorized. We sent reports to every major bank he touched. We flagged every account connected to him. 2 of them got frozen. Then we filed a complaint with the IRS. If Craig thought the U.S. government wouldn't notice him cashing out a house and vanishing to Mexico without paying taxes, he was wrong. We also went after the real estate company. Turns out they skipped a few steps when selling my home. They never verified my ID and the notary who stamped the power of attorney? We found her. She cracked fast. Said Craig paid her $500 under the table. Said she knew it wasn't legal, but he seemed desperate. She gave us a signed affidavit. That changed everything. With everything falling into place, Melissa connected me with Jason, a private investigator who worked cases in Mexico. Ex-cop. Quiet type. Wore sunglasses indoors. He didn't talk much, but when he did, it mattered. He found Craig in 2 weeks. Big yellow house, fancy truck, loud parties, lots of drinking. No job, no responsibilities. Just sitting around enjoying the life he stole from me. Jason kept sending me photos. I couldn't stop looking at them. My brother, tan and happy, holding beers and grinning. Meanwhile, I was dragging my busted legs around, trying to rebuild from nothing. But Jason found something even better. Craig had a fake name on some documents in Mexico. That was a crime. Now we had him on fraud and international false identity. Melissa contacted the FBI again. This time, they were interested. But here's where it got weird. Jason was following Craig one night when he saw Craig meet with 2 guys in a parking lot. Cash changed hands. One of the guys gave him a box. Jason took a photo, Craig opening the box and pulling out passports. Multiple ones. Fake. Craig wasn't just hiding. He was planning to run again. That kicked things into overdrive. Jason sent the photos. Melissa passed them to a federal contact, and we filed an emergency motion to get Craig classified as a flight risk. That meant the U.S. could now legally request assistance from Mexican authorities. A week later, Craig was detained by the local police while trying to board a fishing boat with a fake ID and 10 grand in cash. He was extradited back to the U.S. I didn't go to the airport when they brought him back. I wanted the first time he saw me to be in court. The trial date was set. Multiple charges: identity theft, financial fraud, forging legal documents, elder abuse because of my condition during the theft, and tax evasion. He pled not guilty. Of course he did. But he looked different. No tan. No sunglasses. Pale, sunken cheeks. Jail will do that. He kept looking at me in the courtroom. I never looked back. I wanted him to know I was stronger now. Standing. Watching. Remembering everything. While Craig sat in jail waiting for trial, Melissa and I kept digging. We wanted everything. Every account, every dollar, every lie he ever told in my name. And we got a lucky break. One of Craig's old friends reached out. His name was Vince. We went to the same high school, but I hadn't seen him in years. He messaged me out of nowhere and said, "Hey man, I heard what happened. You should know Craig bragged about what he did." At first I thought Vince was just talking trash. But then he sent me screenshots. Text messages from Craig. One read, "I cleaned my brother out while he drooled on himself. Told everyone he was brain dead. Easy money." Another, "By the time he wakes up, I'll be untouchable." It made me sick. But that wasn't even the worst part. Melissa was reviewing my financial records again when she noticed a weird charge, $27.95 recurring monthly fee from a company that does background checks and death record lookups. Turns out Craig had been using it to search for death certificates in my name. That's when it hit us. He didn't just say I was dead. He filed a fake death certificate. We found it. He used it to file a life insurance claim, one I completely forgot I even had. I'd signed up for it through work years ago. A small policy, just under $50,000. Craig claimed it, and the insurance company paid out. He collected that money 2 months after selling my house. We filed another fraud complaint, this time directly with the insurer, who now had grounds to sue him for insurance fraud. Melissa said it could add another 10 years to his sentence. While reviewing Craig's email records from a recovered hard drive, we found something even bigger. A woman named Tara. She helped Craig sell my furniture, clean out the house, and even signed fake letters on my behalf. She pretended to be a caregiver to get access to my medical files. Craig had a partner. Tara was still in Arizona, still working at the same notary office. She had no idea we had proof. Yet, Melissa sent her a letter giving her a choice, testify against Craig or get dragged down with him. She folded fast, told us everything, gave up emails, texts, voice recordings. She even admitted she was the one who forged the signature on the power of attorney, not Craig. With her statement, we had Craig dead to rights on another felony, conspiracy. About a week before trial, Jason, the PI, called and said, "I've got something. You're going to want to hear this." He met me in person and handed me a flash drive. Said it came from a former neighbor who used to live across the street from my old place. The guy had a security camera that captured audio and video across the street. Still had the footage saved on his old drive. I watched it that night. It was Craig standing outside my house with Tara. Middle of the night. He was drunk. Laughing. "I'm telling you, once he dies for real, I'm going to flip that house and vanish. He won't even know it." Tara laughed back. "He won't care. He's a vegetable, remember?" Craig, "Yeah, and vegetables don't sue you." That recording made me shake. I must have watched it 5 times. We gave it to the prosecutor. It was the final nail. The courtroom was packed. Not because people cared about me. Most of them didn't even know my name. They were there to see a man who stole a dead man's life, only to find out that dead man came back. Craig looked different now. He'd lost weight. His tan was gone. His hair looked greasy. He didn't smile anymore. Not once. When I walked in, he finally looked at me. His mouth dropped just a little. He never thought I'd make it. First came the documents. Melissa laid everything out, step by step. The forged power of attorney. The bank transfers. The real estate deal. The stolen insurance payout. Each paper had Craig's name on it. Each date lined up. Each move was cold, calculated, and illegal. Then came the witnesses. The banker who said Craig acted oddly confident when he cleaned out my accounts. The notary who admitted she let it happen. Tara, his partner in crime, who gave up everything to save herself. And then, the tape. The one where Craig laughed about waiting for me to die for real. They played it in court. The jury watched him smirk on that screen. Watched him mock my injuries. Watched him say I didn't matter. I looked over at the jury. Some were shaking their heads. One woman looked sick. Then it was my turn. I walked up there slow. Still used the cane. My leg would never be the same. I wasn't looking for pity. I just wanted the truth out loud. I told them everything. The crash. The hospital. Waking up with no home, no car, no money. How I trusted my brother. How I thought he was helping me. How I believed like a fool that blood meant something. And how I opened that one damn storage unit and realized he didn't just steal from me, he tried to erase me. The courtroom was dead quiet. The judge thanked me for my testimony. I walked back to my seat. Craig still wouldn't look at me. Guilty. On every count. Identity theft. Wire fraud. Forgery. Conspiracy. Insurance fraud. Tax evasion. Abuse of a vulnerable adult. The judge didn't hold back. Called Craig a man without shame, and one of the coldest criminals I've seen in this courtroom. Sentence? 22 years. No parole. Craig screamed in court. Said it was all Tara's fault. Said I set him up. Begged for just one more chance. Nobody believed him. Not even the guards. Tara? She got 5 years probation and a felony on her record. She'll never be a notary again. Last I heard, she's working part-time at a call center, drowning in legal debt. The notary who helped Craig? Her license was revoked. Her office shut down. She might face charges later, depending on how deep she was in. The banks that let Craig move my money? They settled with me. Quietly. Paid out 6 figures to avoid being dragged into the mess. The real estate company? Got hit with a lawsuit. Their name still hasn't recovered. I got back a portion of what I lost. The insurance company returned the stolen payout. The state gave me access to a victim restitution fund. Melissa never charged me $1, said it was personal. I bought a small house outside Flagstaff. Not big, not flashy, but it's mine. I don't trust easy anymore. But I'm alive. I'm walking. And I'm not the man Craig thought I was. 6 months after the trial, I visited him once. In prison. Maximum security. He looked tired. Smaller. Like a man finally realizing he wasn't special. You happy now? He asked. I stared at him for a long time. Then I said, no. But I'm still here. And that's what kills you. I left before he could answer. They say family is everything. But sometimes the worst people wear the same face you saw at the dinner table growing up. Craig took everything from me. But in trying to bury me, he left behind the one thing that destroyed him, proof. One forgotten storage unit. One dumb mistake. That was all I needed. And I made damn sure he never got another chance.